So good morning, everybody here in the centre and at home. As you can see, I've spread a blanket out right out over my mat, which is what we will use for some of the physical practice. And we're going to start with a breathing practice, however. So I want you to feel super comfortable, and there are different things you could do for this. You could sit on a chair, you could sit like I am on something, on a block, and I can bring you a block pan. But also, if you just feel really ill at ease sitting, I'm really happy for this breathing practice today to be lying on your back. But we are going to be spending a lot of time lying on our back afterwards. So you choose. And just a word about the practice today. Some of it overlaps with what we did last week, but this is going to be a particularly gentle practice. This is a practice that is yoga, definitely is yoga, but it's very, very influenced by two methods of body work that are kind of inseparable from yoga. And one is called somatics, and it's a method brought together by a guy called Thomas Hanna, and it involves very gentle, repetitive movements. And very closely related to that is the Feldenkrais method that I've mentioned previously. So a lot of today is using these very gentle, repetitive movements as much to soothe the nervous system as to release tension in the body and to realign how we organize our body with our neural pathways, so with our nervous system. And next week and the week after, we'll come into a stronger yoga practice again. Hope that's okay. But it can be it can feel, if you're wanting like a stronger practice and you're a bit competitive and you're used to kind of getting into big shapes or running or doing things like that, it can feel a little bit frustrating. You're thinking, when is it going to get going? And it's not going to get going. So part of the practice is to observe what that does to you. What does it do to you to have permission to slow it all right down and to hardly do anything? Does it start to send you stir crazy, or does it make you feel deeply at ease? There was something else I was going to say, but I think that's probably enough. Is that all right? Yeah. So, and again, I forgot my extension lead. So every now and again, I'm going to look over to the laptop, which is to the side rather than in front. So sorry at home. And I'm assuming Claire and Mark are there. And I know Mary. And I know Mary, you're coming and going today.
Yeah, we're here.
Hello. That'll all go on YouTube. So would you like to make yourselves comfortable, either sitting or lying for this initial breathing practice? Yeah, you want to feel really, really at ease. Yeah, are you warm enough? Yeah. So take time to settle. And if you're sitting, you can take time to really feel through the base of your body. And if you're lying down, you can take time to feel out through the back of your body. So, beginning to turn your attention inwards. And actually, the practice we're going to do today is, in many ways, an incredibly advanced practice. In that, we're going to take time to really, really maybe notice ourselves in a way that we're not so familiar with. We're going to get a little bit microscopic, very subtle. So starting now by bringing your attention to the contact between the base of your body and the floor, whether that's your seat or your back. And noticing the quality of the connection, the quality of the contact. Do you feel heaviness through parts of your body, for example? Maybe you feel lighter in some parts than others. Do you feel a tightness in any parts of the body? And in some parts of the body, do you feel at ease and spacious? Maybe you feel warmth in some parts of the body. Or maybe you feel a coolness. What invitation is your body making to you right now? Or in other words, what does your body and you really need from this practice? Another way of stating this is to ask, what beautiful question might you ask of yourself today? What is life inviting you into? What beautiful question might you ask yourself today? What is life inviting you into? And the answers to these questions aren't intellectual, but best left to the body and an intuitive intelligence to understand. And then allowing your attention to slip into the stream of your natural breath. So all you're doing for now, without trying to change anything, is to notice the sensation of air in your nostrils. The sensation of air moving to the back of your nose and sinus cavities. Sensation of air in your throat. And maybe you can feel the passage of air moving down your windpipe or trachea before it separates in two and moves into the right and the left lung. And then all the way out again, the same way that it came in. And if you can't sense the air passage physically, you could visualize this pathway for a few breaths. You might begin to notice the quality of the breath. So is it a smooth passage in and out of the body? Or does it feel a little bit caught up in places? Is there a little mini obstruction every now and again to the smooth passage of your breath? And then you might begin to notice, do you prefer to breathe in? Does it feel easier to breathe in? Or do you prefer to breathe out? And then you might begin to notice that at the top of the breath in, there's a little pause or a space. And at the bottom of a breath out, there's also a little pause and a space. And you might notice that when you breathe in for longer than you breathe out, or possibly the other way around. So for now, we're just observing. This is called a breath print. As we become familiar with the quality, the length of each part of the breath, the smoothness, where we feel it in the body. Now we are going to make some alterations, having spent quite a long time simply noticing the breath. I'd like you to notice, just for yourself, how long the in-breath is. So you could count 1, 2, 3, maybe less, maybe more. And then notice how long the out-breath is. So you're not trying to change anything. You're just noticing the exact count to see if one is longer than the other. And you might also count in the pauses as well. Maybe you pause for a count of 1. Or maybe it's a little bit more. When you've become familiar with what a normal breath is, maybe you breathe in for 3, maybe you breathe out for 4, you'll have your own rhythm. I'd like you to begin to add a few counts to the inhalation. You're making your inhalation a little bit longer, but without straining. And you pause, and then you let the breath go. And you might notice that the count creeps up as long as you're feeling soft and relaxed. As you gradually invite a little bit more air into the body on each breath in. Staying very soft. And then dropping back to your original count for your in-breath, so you're not trying to extend it. Then in your own time, beginning to add a few counts to the out-breath. So you feel a longer out-breath, maybe a sense of dissolving away with the exhalation. You might notice that you dwell a little in the pause at the end of the exhalation. I never want you to extend any part of the breath in such a way that you feel uncomfortable or strained. This is all within your comfort zone. If you've been watching Wim Hof's Freeze the Fear, the breathing practice is excellent, but far more extreme than what we're doing. And then let that go and return to natural breath, just simply observing the passage of the air in and out of the body. And we're going to get a little bit more complicated, and you only do what you want to do. I'd like you to breathe in for as long as feels comfortable, and then stop, pause, and then see if you can sip in a little bit more air. Just a little bit more, and pause, and then take a long, soothing exhale. As if you were sliding down a banister. When you've come to the end of that long exhale, just take a normal breath, a completely normal breath. And then take another breath in for as long as feels right, and pause at the end of that. And when you're ready, you sip in more air, but without strain. It's like you're just topping yourself up. And then you slide down that long, banister of the exhalation. And at the end of that, you take a normal breath in and out. And then do that practice again in your own time. And after you've taken a couple of natural breaths, I'd like you to just take a normal breath in, pause, and then begin to breathe out and make your breath out a little bit longer. So it's an extended exhalation. But keep going. Take it all the way to its conclusion and beyond, and hold for a moment, but without panic. And then allow a natural breath to flood the body again. You take a couple of natural breaths, and then we'll do that again. So you breathe in normally, pause, and then take your exhale for as far as it'll go, a sense of dissolving into its conclusion and maybe a little bit beyond. And then hold on the breath out. Noticing what's here for you before the in-breath floods your body with oxygen. You take a natural breath or two, and then we'll do one more of those long extended exhalations in your own time. And when you're ready, you return to a natural breath. And notice if you feel any different. That's quite an elaborate breathing practice. For some of you, you might have felt a little bit anxious. That would be normal. Some of you might feel deeply, deeply relaxed. When we extend the exhalation, we're triggering our parasympathetic nervous system. This is the branch of our nervous system that is related to how we relax, how we recover from using so much adrenaline and cortisol in our active lives of striving, of always being on the go. And then please stand both feet on the floor. And take your time. Like I said, we're not really going anywhere in this practice today. We're going to be very slow and curious. So take your time to arrange your feet, organize your feet so that you feel completely at ease out through the back of your pelvis. But you do sort of want, you don't really want your knees knocking in towards each other. You kind of want your thighs parallel, feet parallel. It's just, it might vary how close you bring your heels into your buttocks or not. And then you might
like to float your arms into a cactus shape so that you're bent at the elbows, back of the hands on the floor, but only if this feels completely delicious for your shoulders and shoulder blades. If it feels a strain, then you float your arms back down. And bring your attention to your feet. And begin to press the right foot into the floor, as if you're trying to push it through the floor. And notice what's happening to the muscles of the legs, maybe the buttock, and then let go. And when you're ready, press into the left foot, as if you're trying to press it through the floor. And notice what happens on the left side of the body. And then let it go. And I would like you to continue like this, alternating between each foot. As if you were walking, lying down, so your feet are walking.
And your job is to notice which muscles become engaged, what happens to your pelvis as you press into one foot. Where does the pelvis move towards? How do you feel in your breath?
And you might notice, because you've become so subtly aware in the body, that one side of the pelvis peels away from the floor a little bit more than the other side, or not, doesn't matter. Breathe. Fantastic, and then let that go. And please slide your left leg long. And you could walk your right foot a little bit further out to the side if you like. See what that feels like, just a little bit more. And the left leg's just floppy like jelly. And then you continue to do exactly what you did before with the right foot. You press it through the floor. You notice what happens. And then you let go. And observe if this feels any different to when you had both feet on the floor. Do you find that there's a little bit more freedom of movement? Or maybe you find you're a little bit more restricted? Do you find that you have an urge to push yourself as far over as possible? Or are you very relaxed and able to simply lift a few millimeters before melting back down again?
Breathing freely. And then please change legs. When you're ready, slide the right leg long and bend up the left knee, taking your foot out to the side. Lovely. And begin the same process. Noticing, being super curious, is it the same? Are there any differences? compared to the other side. Really what you're doing is observing how your body is organizing itself. How much of your body are you aware of as you do this very simple movement? Breathing freely. And then please let that go, slide the left leg long, bring your arms by your sides and have a rest. And it's the periods of rest in between these movements which are as important as the movements themselves. It's a way of absorbing the effects, and it also encourages a body memory. And a memory in the nervous system of what feels good, of what is a helpful way to organize the body. And then please stand your feet on the floor again. And you're going to take your arms in that same cactus shape, if that's comfortable, or wherever you want them to be. So we're really going to make it even smaller now, because we're going to drop our attention into our eyes exclusively. So take a little bit of time. We're not really familiar, perhaps, often with doing this, to just feel the eyeballs in the sockets. Maybe feel the tissues around the eyes. And I would like you to try and keep your head completely still as you very slowly begin to move your eyes towards the left, as far as they'll go to the left. And then you bring them to the top, very slowly, and you move them to the right. You could do this with closed eyes, or you could have them open and you could be drawing a line across the ceiling and maybe down the walls. And one thing I'd be interested in you looking out for is into the quality of the movement. So sometimes, for example, when I move my eyes because they get really tired and sore, these gentle movements are really jittery. They're not a smooth line at all. But if I do this practice often, the line smooths out. So have a check-in for yourself. How is this line of movement for your eyes? Can you make it really slow? And then when you're ready, staying with the same movement of the eyes, you lead the movement of the eyes, but then you join in with the head. So as your eyes move to the left, you allow your head to roll, gentle massage of the head, as far as it will go to the left, following the eyes. And then you begin to move the eyes back, and your head will follow all the way to the top, rolling around to the right. Noticing the quality of movement of your head and neck as initiated by your eyes. That's lovely. And then resting the head, the eyes in neutral. So if your eyes are open, you're looking at the ceiling. Or if your eyes are closed, you're just looking up at an imaginary spot on the ceiling. And trying to keep the head, again, we're isolating the movement of the eyes. Try to keep the head still as you begin to slide your eyes up towards your eyebrows, forehead. So you're rolling them back as far as they'll go. If you're looking on the ceiling, you might come to a wall behind you. And then you slide them back again until you're rolling your eyes down to look past your nose. And continue with that movement, again, noticing, not moving your head, noticing if the movement is smooth or if it's glitchy in places. And I know myself that it's really easy to stop breathing with these kinds of concentration exercises. They're quite hard. So remind yourself to breathe freely as you isolate the movement in your eyes. And then, like we did before, in your own time, when you're ready, initiating the movement with your eyes and then allowing your head to join in. So you might find as you look back that your chin lifts, your throat opens, you slide your head back. And then as you begin to roll your eyes forwards again, your head slides and your chin comes into your chest, but you don't lift your head. You just flatten out the neck. And you continue like this. So we're arching and flattening the neck, as well as sliding on the back of the head. The movements might be minuscule or they might be quite big. Like I said at the beginning of the practice, for some of us, the biggest challenge is slowing down like this, not doing more. And I understand that.
We're going to add another movement here. In fact, let's just come to still head, still eyes. And we're going to involve the knees in this movement. So begin to slide your eyes back, your head rolls back, and you're going to push into your feet. And your knees will probably move away from you. You might feel your lower back flatten. And then when you begin with your eyes to come back again, chin comes into your chest. Pressure releases from your feet. And you feel this little arching of the lower back, a little tunnel for a mouse to scurry under. And then you come back again, press into your feet, your eyes look behind you. Chin lifts. And so on. I actually realise now as I'm doing it that might not be the way it works. It might be that as you roll your head back, you arch the lower spine. And as you roll your chin in, you flatten it and your knees move away then. So I should leave you to inquire how your spine and your pelvis join in with the movement of your head, neck and eyes. So you end up with a ripple all the way up the body and down again.
Looking good. It's very interesting looking at you in the room because some of you are moving so imperceptibly and wondering if you're doing anything, and then I realise that you are. And others of you have got larger movements, and that is exactly how it should be. All of it is good. And now please come to rest, lie your legs long. Let everything go. Take a few breaths and just simply enjoy the simplicity of lying here. How often do we get to do this in the middle of the day?
And when you're ready, standing your feet on the floor again, but this time interlacing your hands behind your head so that you feel the weight of your head cradled in your hands. And all I'd like you to begin by doing is to press into your feet to flatten the lower back. Don't worry about the eyes now, we're just focusing on the pelvis. And then let the feet go and the pelvis spills forwards to create that little tunnel for your mouse. You roll over your tailbone. And then you press into your feet to flatten the back down again, almost peeling up the tailbone, but not quite. Take a few rounds like this. Observing how much of your body is integrated in the ripple of movement that you're creating through the feet and the pelvis. Okay, let that go. Keep your head in your hands. And we're going to add a breathing practice, and we're going to add a movement of the head. But I don't want you to yank your head up with your hands. You're going to simply make a little cradle as you bring your elbows together. So I'll do a couple and you join in when you're ready. You're going to breathe in, roll over your tailbone to create that little arch in your lower back. The pelvis is spilling forwards. But this time as you breathe out and you flatten, you press into your feet, float your elbows together like butterfly wings so that your head lifts and you look in between your legs. As you breathe in, you let the arms go, the head go. You allow the pelvis to spill forwards. Feel this opening in your belly. And on the breath out, you press into your feet, you flatten, your elbows come together, your head lifts to look in between your legs. Please continue like that. Remembering this is not a sit-up. You're not trying to create a six-pack, although there is some strengthening work going on quite subtly. It's looking fantastic. Please rest your head in your hands and slide the left leg along. So we add a little bit more to this practice. You inhale to spill the pelvis forwards. And this time as you exhale, you press into the right foot, your elbows come together, and the left leg will float up now. So you can see the foot float up and it hovers there, but not too high. And then on the inhale, with control, you float the leg down, your head comes down, your elbows separate, your pelvis is tilted forwards. And on the exhale, you press into the right foot, elbows come together, your left leg floats up, and you continue. And this does feel stronger. And it's so good to synchronize the breath with the movement. Fabulous. Making the movement as controlled and as smooth and as slow as possible. The gentleness of what we're doing today is super deceptive. It's a very profound practice. Many levels. Maybe do one more on this side and then please change sides. But take a little rest in between with both legs extended, both arms by your sides. Lovely. So you're pressing into your left foot on the exhale now, floating the right leg up as your elbows come together. Take a few more rounds, really conscious of the breath and moving the body. Noticing where there's effort, where there's ease. And then let it all go. Both legs long, both arms by your sides.
And have a nice long rest and digest. What do you notice in your breath? What do you notice about your contact with the floor? And we're going to move on to do something that Will, my partner, does whenever he gets a chance to do, which isn't as often as it used to be. So, and it is, I think it's a lovely thing to do. And if you haven't done it with me before, and I don't think anyone here in Pendine has done it with me before, it can take a while to familiarise yourself with the movement. So don't worry, just go as far as feels right. So we start by bringing our knees in towards us and holding the kneecaps with the hands, but lightly, so you're not gripping. And if you can't hold onto your knees, just have your knees up and your arms by your sides, or have your feet on the floor, that's okay. So what I'd like you to do, rather than gather your knees right over your chest, is allow them to float away so your arms are straight. Lovely. And have a sense of your legs hanging in your hands. And you might already have a sense of the little muscles around the front of the hips letting go. And we're going to do this in very slow stages. And you're going to keep the left side of your body still for now, as you begin to peel the right knee away from the left. So you're opening your right leg out to the right, not necessarily too far, and then closing it in again. And I'd love you just to do that a few times, investigating for yourself how far you want to come. It's not about coming as far as you can. It's how far does it feel good? Very soft in the whole body. And what we're doing now is definitely this is one of the first things I've learned in my Feldenkrais training, is this little sequence to follow. So you might feel an ease of movement or not in the right hip socket. You might begin to feel a little bit of pressure move over to the right buttock. And if this stage is where you want to be, you just do this. But if you want to go to the next stage, once your right knee has gone as far as you want, you then begin to roll your head. You roll a little onto the right side of the body. Feel the weight pouring into your shoulder, the buttock, but you're not coming all the way over. And then you slowly roll back again, and your knees meet. And I'd just love you to do that a few times. It really is a very gentle massage for the back of your body. And now it's fine, of course, it's fine for your left leg to come with you a little way. I don't mean by that I mean as you bring the right knee out and you begin to roll to the right, your left leg will naturally follow. I said that because I saw one of you trying to hold the left leg vertical, and it's just not going to naturally. When I first started doing these sorts of practice, I thought how weird it is that as adults, I don't know, I was at the end of my 40s when I started doing this, how weird it was. I just really enjoyed rolling around on the floor. So simple. It's like being a little baby again. So you continue like this. You might not want to go any further, or maybe
You find yourself rolling, pouring the weight all the way to the right until your right knee drops to the floor and the left knee now can float on top of the right knee. But I'd like you to roll your head in so your chin comes right into your chest and you curl in on yourself. And then you come back the way you came. You could start sliding the head back. Then you lift the left knee. And you very slowly roll all the way back up again. Take a few rounds. Feel your way. There's nothing really to achieve here. We're looking for a smoothness. I'm going to come and unfold that blanket for you, Melody, because it's all right. It's an issue because I'm floating with the grip on the blanket. There's no gripping. That's true. That part might be done better than that. Lovely. So as you roll all the way over, you curl your head in, you curl in on yourself like a little fetus. I'm going to talk you through the next stage, but knowing that if you haven't done it before, you might find it confusing, you might want to have a little look. So see how you get on. I'm going to do exactly what you've done, peeling open the right knee, rolling over to the right. This time you lift your head a little as the left knee travels down to your right ankle. Can you see? I'm curled in on myself, but I've lifted my head. The left knee's travel down to the right ankle. And then you come all the way back, trying to be curly and soft. It's all right to speed it up a bit if you need to. And some of you may, or some of you may not, come all the way up to sitting. Again, you might want to watch me to see how that goes. It's very curly in the spine, and I know from experience that when I first started doing this, there's no way I could have done it without pressing my hand into the floor. But see how you go. It's okay. Often that happens. It's just easier to keep the knee bent. And what's interesting about this movement is that our pelvis is a really powerful pivot of momentum in the body. We really propel ourselves from the pelvis. It's the heaviest bone. It's really what allows us to roll over, sit up. Excellent. You look like you've done this before.
Otherwise, I've done it through dance.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You probably will have. Well, you might have.
But there's no pressure? Is it just from the pelvis? There's no.
Well, there's little points of cheating, aren't there? At the beginning. I'm pushing into my elbow, to be fair. It's all right to cheat. It's all right to cheat. Eventually, or if your will, my partner, you just do it freely. If I do it a lot, the same thing happens. I haven't really been doing so much of this. It also helps to really speed it up.
Oh, yeah.
Then you just find there's much more momentum. Try and keep your head curled in until you're all the way up. Oh, that was good, pal. Curl your chin in. Yes, beautiful. You will look like you've been doing Feldenkrais forever. When I go to Sussex, this is what I do for 10 days.
Okay,
It's what I do for 10 days. It's great. There is a little bit of a variety, but not a lot. Fantastic. Okay, we don't want to neglect the other side. So do come to lie flat on your back for a moment, just to notice the difference between the two sides of the body, because you probably will now. You've done all that rolling to one side. And this, for those of you who don't know, for those of you in Pendine, actually, I am uploading all of these classes, both the long version from here and my short version from filmed at home onto YouTube. So if you want to, and that's free, you can just access the link on my website and pick up any classes you want if that's something you want to do at home. Okay, let's start again on the other side. Bring both knees in. Hold on to your knees, just loosely soften the knuckles and the wrists. And we start tiny, so your right leg is still as you peel open your left leg to the left. And bring it back to the top, just feeling your way. Take a few rounds like that, and then you know what comes next. You begin to roll ever so slightly onto the left side. Your head rolls onto your shoulder side of the body. Come back again. So Anne, we're doing the other side of the body now. You all right? Everything okay? Yeah. Roll a little bit onto the left. When you're ready, your right knee floats down onto the left knee. And you come all the way onto one side, chin curled in towards your chest. You might even roll onto your forehead. I'm going to leave you to decide when you're ready to roll over, begin to lift the head as the right knee slides down to the left ankle. You might do that a few times before you attempt to come all the way up to sitting, or not. It's absolutely up to you. And it might be, so I find that much easier on that side. I don't need to press into my elbow. It might be that one side's easier. Breathing freely as you roll, maybe up to sitting, maybe not. And it can be really fun to make it much faster. It can be really fun to roll from one side and then roll immediately over to the other side. Exactly. Have a little play. This is the last bit of this part of the practice before we come to a bit something a little bit more recognizable as yoga. Lovely. Yeah. Looking really very elegant in the river room. Not the river room, sorry, the centre. River room's up in Lancaster. That's amazing. Can you feel the momentum of your pelvis moving you? Okay. And then coming to lie flat, have a lovely rest. Take that time, that care, that attention to simply feel and notice everything that is here right now. How's your breath, for example? Where do you feel it in the body, and does it feel different from before? Does the contact between your body and the floor feel different when you first explored this right at the beginning of the class? Don't think about it, just feel it. And then in your own way, in your own time, would you like to roll over, remove your blankets from your mat, and we'll rest into a child's pose. And your knees could be together, they could be apart.
And if your head doesn't reach the floor easily, bring something under your head like your hands or a block or a blanket. And come into your own stillness, your own pool of quiet. As you soften the whole body towards the earth.
Beautiful. And then please lift yourselves to an all-fours position. With your hips over your knees, your shoulders over your ankles. Probably, Anne, you want to take the blanket away just because it'll be slippy with the blanket now for what we're going to do. Just put it to one side. And bringing your attention to the back of your ribs where your shoulder blades meet. And I want you to keep your arms straight. And as you breathe in, you're going to dip in between the shoulders. It's like you're hunching your shoulders, then your chin might lift, your tailbone might lift. And as you begin to breathe out, you take that area where your shoulder blades meet up towards the ceiling, and you scoop the whole of the front body into the back body. Chin is towards your chest, tailbone dragging down. And continue in your own time, your own way. You dip on the inhale, but you're dipping between the shoulders. Forget the pelvis. And then you push that space between your shoulder blades up.
And continue like this, noticing the articulation of your spine. Moving with the breath. Lovely. Trying not to bend in the elbows because that will take the movement away from the spine. Notice, so for example, Melody, notice when you dip between the shoulders that probably naturally your chin will lift.
Yeah.
Because you're actually coming into a cow, but we're just doing it from the shoulders. And this is cat. And this is cow. And the arms stay as straight as they can. And you might really feel this in the ribs. You might feel it in the shoulders. Okay, and then become still again, and we'll do the same movement of the spine, that same ripple of the spine, but now we do initiate it from the pelvis. So you've already done this on the floor. You allow your belly to spill forwards, your pelvis to spill forwards. And that will naturally open the chest, the chin will lift. And then just like you did on your back, but you do more, you flatten the lower back, but then you curl it under as your tailbone drops. The front body really draws into the back body. And then continue in your own time, flexing and extending. I'll stop talking so you can just feel it. Trying to synchronize the breath with the movement. Okay. And actually, when you exhale and you drag the tailbone down, you'll feel the strength in your core, the strength in your abdomen. You're sucking it in towards the spine. It's a lift from the pelvic floor. And then when you inhale, you let it all go. It softens as your belly spills towards the floor. Wonderful. Let's let that go. Have a little circle in your hips in one direction. And then in the opposite direction. And then we curl under our toes and we sit back on our heels for that toe love, foot love we're so keen on. You can separate your toes with your fingers. Allowing the weight, I know it's fine, allowing the weight to do the work on your plantar fascia. Well done. A few breaths, really feel the backs of your toes, the soles of your feet. And then slide your hands down. So we're going to come into downward dog, and I haven't got the bolster for you. I'm sorry, so you can try with the blanket holder. You could roll up your mat. We'd have to go under the ankles.
Oh yes.
Remember, it gives you that little lift. I think it helped. That might be enough. Let's see. So let's become still in the arms and the ribs. You're taking the weight back towards your heels. Try not to over push into the hands as you begin to lift your knees off the floor and take your bottom back and up as you unfold into your downward dog. You pause here for a moment and then you consciously refold, bend the knees, slowly come back down. And please keep going. And as I said last week, it'd be absolutely normal to need to bring the shoulders forwards, at least at the beginning of this, until you're more familiar. Lovely, Pam. That's great, Anne. And you can relax your neck and your head, let it just dangle like that. Yeah, I know, it's hard on the wrists, isn't it? You can make fists if you like. That takes the pressure off. Good. So I'm going to leave you to do a few more. This is the stronger part. This is the strongest part of the class today.
And you rest in child's pose if it gets too much, but it might feel quite delicious just to open and breathe. Feel the whole body, the skin breathe. One of these times that you're up,
Stay up and have a little play here. I'm not going to over-instruct you, but the invitation would be to take your hands and your feet in different positions, maybe wider apart, maybe closer, maybe at an angle. So you give yourself time to explore the whole pose and how you can breathe most fully in it, liberating the spine, spilling the pelvis forwards, opening the whole of the back of the body. Breathe. Fabulous. And then from here, looking at your hands and baby stepping your feet to your hands. And you can bend your knees a little as you flop like a rag doll. Really feeling the feet, feeling your upper body cascading out of your pelvis like you're a waterfall pouring down. Here. And we're going to come up bone by bone. So you need to press into your feet a little. You're going to imagine your spine as a frond of a fern all curled up on itself. But slowly, slowly, as spring turns into summer, your fern frond unfurls. So your head and your shoulders will come up last. Finally to be standing. Take a moment just to feel yourself vertical. Arms by your sides. And then as you breathe in, float the left arm up. Feel the length in the side body, and exhale, slide down to the right. Beautiful. Feel the body and inhale from the feet, push yourself up and float the arm down. On the next inhale, float the right arm up. Exhale, come over to the left. And so on. Take a few rounds, just easing your way into the side body. You look like you like doing this, Anne.
When I was finished now, we did this when we was warming up.
Oh, yeah, it is a bit of a warm up. Feel it on the side of the hip, sideways. Maybe just do one more to each side, making sure that you're symmetrical. Lovely. And then next time, breathe in, bring both arms up, really scoop the air. Feel the length in the body from the feet to the fingertips. And as you breathe out, come down halfway, really strong in the back, squeeze your shoulder blades together. And take a breath in here now, so you're strong, your legs are strong. And push into your feet, and on the exhale, you come up again.
He's been flying.
We're flying. We are flying. Inhale. And exhale, come down halfway. Good to fly.
Yay.
Take an inhale And exhale, come all the way up. Beautiful. Inhale, find more length. Exhale, come down halfway. On this inhale, really gather the strength of your back, your belly, and then exhale, fold all the way down. Release your arms, your fingers. Beautiful. Bend into your knees, press into your feet, and inhale, come all the way up. Big breaths. Exhale, arms down, waist hands. Inhaling, arms come up. Exhale, come down halfway. Little squeeze of the shoulder blades. Legs are strong. Inhale. And on the exhale, push up. Inhale. Exhale, come down. Beautiful. Inhale. Push into your feet. Exhale, come up. Inhale. Exhale, come down. Take a breath in. And then exhale, fold down on yourself. Completely let go. Bending in the knees, pressing into the feet. Inhale, scoop the air to your sides as you come all the way up to the top. Exhale, arms by your sides. We're going to do one more, a little bit more quickly, then we come down to relax. Inhale. Exhale, fold. This time, inhale, come up. Exhale, fold. Inhale to come up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stay here. And exhale, come all the way down. Press into your feet, bend your knees. Inhaling, come all the way up. And as you exhale now, watch your hands as you bring them down past your face to your heart. Take one hand over your chest, one hand over your belly. Maybe close your eyes. Take a few moments to simply feel what's here. Can you feel the support of your skeleton? A sense of all of your tissues, your soft tissues, hanging from the bones. Connection of your feet with the floor. And a sense of the air on your skin and the space around you. And when you're ready, please come to lying down. Cover yourselves in the blanket that you've got. Choose whether your knees are bent or whether your legs are extended. We come to the end of the physical practice. So we're back where we started. And it may be that as you come down to settle, you return to that question or that set of questions. What invitation is your own body making to you? What beautiful question might you ask yourself today? What is life inviting you into? And as those questions settle for you, noticing how you feel in your body. Notice the quality of your breath. I'm going to leave you for a few minutes in silence after having read a short poem by Rebecca Elson, who was an astronomer as well as a poet. And the poem is called Evolution. We are survivors of immeasurable events, flung upon some reach of land, small, wet miracles without instructions, only the imperative of change. Beginning now to take a few slightly deeper breaths. You might like to gently roll your head from side to side as you did earlier in the practice. You might like to rub your hands quite vigorously. Take the heat of your hands over your eyes. Choosing any gentle movements that work for you to gradually transition to rolling onto one side and to eventually coming up to sitting. There's no hurry. As you sit, you might have your eyes closed just for a final moment, just to take stock, really. Just to notice how you're feeling. And take a full breath into the heart. And as you bow your head, breathing out. Inhaling to lift your head and open your eyes. Thank you very, very much. Namaste.